My daughter scheduled a family meeting and said, "We've all decided that Mom needs to move to assisted living." I was sitting right there. The meeting was about me, without asking me. My son nodded. "We've already looked at facilities." "Palm Gardens has availability," my daughter said. "We'll sell your house to pay for it." "It's all arranged." I said, "I'm not moving," my daughter sighed. "Mom, you don't have a choice. You can't live alone anymore." I was living alone fine. Cooking, cleaning, managing. I said, "Why can't I live alone?" My son said, "You're 81. That's reason enough." I stood up. "This meeting is over," my daughter said. "We're not asking permission. The facility expects you Monday." I said, "I'm not going." My son said, "Yes, you are. We're packing your things this weekend." I walked out, went to my lawyer, filed for protective orders against both my children, restraining orders preventing them from accessing my house or finances, got a psychiatric evaluation, passed, got a home health assessment, passed. Everything proving I was competent and capable. Monday came, my children showed up with moving boxes, found the house locked with new locks, a security guard I'd hired standing on the porch. My daughter called the police. Officers arrived. I showed them the restraining orders. My children were escorted away. They tried to fight it in court. Judge looked at all my evaluations and said, "Your mother is clearly competent. This appears to be an attempt to take control of her assets. Restraining orders remain in effect. I'm 86 now, still in my house, still independent. They're still banned. Best decision I ever made." Before we continue, this fictionalized case study is based on documented cases of families attempting to force competent elderly adults into care facilities against their will. According to the National Center on Elder Abuse, approximately 500,000 seniors are placed in facilities without proper consent each year, often driven by family members' financial interests rather than actual care needs. This examines your legal right to refuse unwanted placement, how to prove you're capable of independent living, and how to protect yourself from family members who try to override your autonomy. Now let me tell you my story. It was a Thursday afternoon in Atlanta, and I was watering my plants in the living room when the doorbell rang. I'm Helen Morrison, 81 years old at the time, retired teacher, widow for 12 years, living alone in the house my husband and I bought 40 years ago. Through the window, I saw my daughter Patricia's car and my son Robert's car in the driveway. I opened the door. "Patricia, Robert, this is a surprise. I didn't know you were coming." Patricia smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Hi, Mom. We need to have a family meeting." "About what?" "Just sit down. We need to talk." Something in her tone made me uneasy, but I led them to the living room. We all sat down, me in my usual chair, Patricia and Robert on the sofa. Patricia folded her hands and looked at me with what I can only describe as false sympathy. "Mom, we've all decided that you need to move to assisted living." I stared at her. "We've all decided. Who is we?" "Robert and I. We've been talking about it for months." "You can't keep living alone." I looked at Robert. He nodded. "It's for the best, Mom. We've already looked at facilities. Palm Gardens has availability. It's really nice. They have activities, meals, medical staff on site." My heart started pounding. I never agreed to this. "You didn't ask me." Patricia continued as if I hadn't spoken. "We'll sell your house to pay for it. It's all arranged. The realtor is coming next week to do a market analysis." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. "You're planning to sell my house? Mom, you don't need this big house. Palm Gardens is much more appropriate for someone your age." "I'm not moving." Patricia sighed, that exasperated sigh that made me feel like a difficult child. "Mom, you don't have a choice. You can't live alone anymore." I looked at both of them, my own children, making decisions about my life without consulting me. I am living alone. I cook my own meals. I clean my house. I drive. I manage my finances. I have a social life. Why exactly can't I live alone? Robert spoke up. "Mom, you're 81 years old." "That's reason enough. Being 81 doesn't make me incompetent." Patricia leaned forward. "We're not saying you're incompetent. We're saying you need support, structure, supervision, and we're providing it." I stood up. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. "This meeting is over. Get out of my house." "Mom, be reasonable. Get out." Patricia's expression hardened. Fine, but we're not asking permission. Palm Gardens expects you Monday, 4 days from now. I'm not going. Yes, you are. We're coming this weekend to pack your things. You can cooperate or not, but you're moving Monday. After they left, I sat in my living room in complete shock. My own children had just informed me, not asked me, informed me that I was being sent to assisted living in 4 days. They'd picked the facility, planned to sell my house, arranged everything, without my consent. Without even pretending to care what I wanted. This wasn't about my welfare. This was a takeover. I looked around my living room, the house I'd lived in for 40 years, where I'd raised Patricia and Robert, where my husband and I had built our life together. Patricia wanted to sell it out from under me and lock me in a facility, over my dead body. I picked up my phone and called my attorney, William Chen. I'd worked with William for years on estate planning. He was 68, semi-retired, but still took on cases for longtime clients. William, it's Helen Morrison. I need your help urgently. Helen, what's wrong? My children are trying to force me into assisted living. They say they're moving me on Monday, 4 days from now. Did you agree to this? Absolutely not. I'm perfectly capable of living independently. They didn't even ask me. They just scheduled a meeting to inform me it was happening. Helen, listen to me carefully. They cannot legally force you into assisted living if you're competent to make your own decisions. And from this conversation, you sound perfectly competent to me. So what do I do? Can you come to my office first thing tomorrow morning? Yes. 9 a.m. Don't agree to anything. Don't sign anything. And Helen, what they're attempting is called unlawful confinement. It's a form of elder abuse. We're going to stop this. That night, I barely slept. Friday morning, I was in William's office at 9 o'clock sharp. Tell me everything, he said. I explained the whole situation, the ambush meeting, Patricia's announcement, the plan to sell my house. The Monday deadline. William took careful notes, his expression growing darker. Helen, this is textbook forced placement. They're using classic tactics, the surprise announcement, the tight timeline, the fait accompli. It's designed to prevent you from getting legal help. Can they really do this? Not legally, no, but they're counting on you not knowing that. They're counting on you being too scared or confused to fight back. He leaned forward. Here's what most people don't understand. Being 81 doesn't give your children any legal authority over you. None. They can't force you into a facility. They can't sell your house. They have zero legal power unless a court declares you incompetent. Have you been declared incompetent? Of course not. Then they have no authority. But we need to prove your competency, and we need to protect you legally. We have 4 days. He pulled out a legal pad and started writing. First, we file for emergency protective orders, restraining orders against both Patricia and Robert. The legal grounds are attempted financial exploitation and attempted unlawful confinement. Restraining orders? Against my own children? William looked at me seriously. Helen, they're planning to forcibly remove you from your home and sell your property without your consent. That's not love. That's crime. Yes, restraining orders. I nodded slowly. He was right. Second, we need a geriatric psychiatrist to evaluate you. Not because I think you need one, but because we need documentation that will hold up in court. When we walk into that courtroom, I want a report that says in black and white that you're fully competent. When can that happen? Today. I'm calling Dr. Sarah Kim right now. She specializes in competency evaluations, and she owes me a favor. Third, we need a home health assessment. We need documentation that you're capable of independent living, that you can safely manage your home and daily activities. I can arrange that for tomorrow. Good. And fourth, we document everything your children have said and done, every threat, every plan they've made without your consent, because when we get to court, we're not just defending you, we're going on offense. William looked at me seriously. Helen, I need to be clear about something. This is aggressive legal action. You're going to get restraining orders against your own children. This will likely destroy your relationship with them permanently. Are you sure you want to go this route? They're planning to take my house and lock me in a facility against my will. I'm sure. All right. Then let's go to war. William picked up his phone and started making calls. He filed an emergency petition for protective orders. The hearing was scheduled for Monday morning at 10 a.m., the same time Patricia expected me to be checking into Palm Gardens. He called Dr. Kim, explaining the urgency. I heard him say, "Sarah, I have a client whose children are trying to force her into assisted living on Monday. She's sharp as a tack, but I need documentation. Can you see her today?" He called Home Care Assessment Services and scheduled an evaluation for Saturday morning. And he called a security company. When he hung up, he said, "Helen, I need you to do 2 more things today. Change your locks." "Your children have keys, correct?" "Yes." "Change the locks today and hire security for Monday morning. Your children told you they're packing your things whether you cooperate or not. That's attempted kidnapping." "We're not letting them get that far. You really think that's necessary?" "Helen, when someone tells you they're going to force you out of your home, believe them. Yes, security is necessary." That afternoon, I sat in Dr. Sarah Kim's office. She was a geriatric psychiatrist in her 50s, calm, professional, and thorough. "Mrs. Morrison, your attorney explained the situation. Your children are trying to place you in assisted living against your will. That's correct. And you don't believe you need assisted living? I know I don't need it. I'm managing fine." "Well, let's find out for sure. I'm going to do a comprehensive evaluation. This will take about 3 hours. I'm going to test your cognitive function, your memory, your ability to reason and solve problems. The goal is to determine whether you're capable of making your own decisions and managing your own life. Do you understand?" "I understand." She started with basic questions. "What is today's date?" "Friday, November 3rd, 2024. "Who is the current president?" I answered correctly. "Can you tell me what you ate for breakfast this morning?" "Oatmeal with blueberries, orange juice, coffee." Then she moved to harder questions. "I'm going to give you 3 words to remember. I'll ask you to recall them later. The words are apple, table, penny. Can you repeat those?" "Apple, table, penny." "Good. Now I'm testing what we call executive function, your ability to plan and problem solve. Can you count backwards from 100 by 7s? 100, 93, 86, 79, 72, 65, 58. I continued without error. She gave me scenarios. If you left your house at 2 p.m. for a doctor's appointment at 3 p.m. and the drive takes 30 minutes, what time should you leave? 2:30 p.m. What would you do if you smelled gas in your house? Leave immediately. Call the gas company from outside. Don't use anything that could create a spark. No light switches, no phone inside the house. She nodded, making notes. Then she started asking about my daily life in detail. "Mrs. Morrison, I need to understand how you actually function day to day. This matters because assisted living is for people who can't manage on their own. So tell me, how do you manage your home?" "I clean every week. Vacuum, dust, mop. I do my own laundry. I cook 3 meals a day. I have a gardener who comes monthly for heavy yard work, but I do the weeding and planting myself. I maintain everything in good condition." "Your finances?" "I pay my bills online every month. Utilities, insurance, property taxes. I balance my checkbook. I meet with my financial advisor quarterly to review my investments. I file my taxes every year with help from an accountant." "Your medications?" "I take 1 thyroid pill every morning. I use a pill organizer so I never forget. I refill prescriptions on time. I've never had any problems. Transportation? I drive myself. Grocery store, church, doctor appointments, lunch with friends. I've been driving for 65 years, never had an accident, no tickets, perfect record. Social activities? I'm in a book club that meets every Tuesday. I go to church every Sunday. I volunteer at the library on Wednesdays. I have lunch with friends at least once a week. I'm on the board of my neighborhood association." Dr. Kim looked up from her notes. "Why do your children think you need assisted living?" I thought about that. "Honestly, I don't know. They didn't ask me. They didn't evaluate me. They just decided." She was quiet for a moment. Then she asked me to recall the 3 words from earlier. "Apple, table, penny." Perfect. She made more notes. After 3 hours, Dr. Kim put down her pen and looked at me. "Mrs. Morrison, let me be very clear about something. What I just did was a comprehensive geriatric evaluation. I tested your orientation, your memory. both short and long-term, your executive function, your judgment, your ability to manage daily activities. These are the same tests used to determine if someone needs a guardian or if they're competent to live independently. And you passed everything. Your cognitive function is excellent, actually above average for your age group. Your memory is intact. Your reasoning is sound. You're managing your daily life independently and successfully. You have strong social connections. You're engaged in your community. She leaned forward. Helen, there is absolutely no medical reason for assisted living placement. None. You are fully competent to make your own decisions and fully capable of living independently. I felt tears of relief starting. Thank you. I'll have my report ready by this evening. I'll send it to William, and Helen, this report is going to state unequivocally that you are competent. What your children are attempting is not based on medical need. It's based on something else entirely. Saturday morning, a woman from Home Care Assessment Services arrived at my house. Her name was Linda Jackson, a Black woman in her mid-40s, an occupational therapist who specialized in evaluating seniors' ability to live independently. Mrs. Morrison, I understand your children are trying to place you in assisted living and you're contesting that. That's right. My job is to evaluate whether you actually need that level of care. I'm going to observe how you manage your daily activities. I'm looking for safety issues, fall risks, cognitive problems, anything that would indicate you can't live independently. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. Good. Now, the evaluation criteria we use are called activities of daily living or ADLs. Can you dress yourself, bathe yourself, prepare meals, manage medications, handle finances, maintain your home, that kind of thing? I'm not here to trick you. I'm here to document the truth, so just do what you normally do. We started in the kitchen. Linda watched me prepare breakfast, eggs, toast, coffee. She observed my movements, my safety awareness, my ability to use the stove without incident. Your kitchen is very organized, she noted, making notes on her clipboard. I like things in their place. Makes cooking easier. Do you cook for yourself regularly? 3 meals a day. I enjoy cooking. We moved through the house. She examined every room, looking at grab bars in the bathroom, the bedroom layout, lighting, pathways. I see you have grab bars installed, she said. I had those put in 5 years ago as a preventive measure. My husband had fallen once before he died. I decided not to wait until I needed them. That's actually excellent planning. Most people wait until after they fall. She made more notes. No fall risks, good lighting, clear pathways. Appropriate safety modifications already in place. She watched me go up and down the basement stairs with laundry, sort my mail, pay bills at my computer. Then she sat down with me. Mrs. Morrison, I need to ask you some standard questions. Have you fallen in the past year? No. I've never fallen. Do you ever forget to eat or skip meals? Never. I cook 3 full meals every day. Do you have any trouble remembering to take your medication? No. 1 pill every morning with breakfast. I've never missed it. Do you ever get lost or confused, even in familiar places? No. Do you have any trouble managing money or paying bills? No. I handle all my own finances. After 2 hours, Linda closed her notebook. Mrs. Morrison, let me explain what I found. Or rather, what I didn't find. I didn't find any reason you would need assisted living. You demonstrate complete independence in all activities of daily living. You cook, you clean, you manage medications properly, you handle finances, you maintain your home safely, and you engage socially. Your home is safe and appropriate for aging in place. There are no safety concerns, no cognitive concerns, no functional limitations. You'll put that in writing? I'll have the report ready by end of day today. And Mrs. Morrison. In 20 years of doing these assessments, you're one of the most capable 81-year-olds I've evaluated. Whatever your children's reasons for wanting you in assisted living, it's not because you need it. Saturday afternoon, I took care of the security measures William had recommended. A locksmith came and changed all my locks. Patricia and Robert both had keys to my house, keys I'd given them years ago for emergencies. Not anymore. I called a security company William had recommended and hired a guard for Monday morning. The man who answered explained their services. Ma'am, we provide security for exactly this kind of situation. Our guard will be on your property. He's trained to handle family disputes. He knows the law regarding trespassing and property rights, and he'll call police if necessary. No one enters your property without your permission. That's exactly what I need. We'll have someone there at 8 a.m. Monday. I also packed all my important documents into my safe. Will, medical records, financial statements, property deed, everything Patricia might try to access. I made copies of everything for William. Saturday evening, Patricia called. Mom, we're coming over tomorrow to start packing. No, you're not. Mom, don't make this difficult. You're moving to Palm Gardens on Monday. We need to pack your things. I'm not going to Palm Gardens. I'm not leaving my house. You don't have a choice? Yes, Patricia, I do. I'm an adult. I'm competent, and I've made my choice. Don't come to my house. I hung up. She called back 3 times. I didn't answer. Sunday was quiet. I went to church, had lunch with my friend Dorothy, came home and read. Patricia and Robert didn't show up to pack. I assumed they were planning to do it all Monday morning before taking me to the facility. They were in for a surprise. Monday morning at 8 a.m., a black SUV pulled up in front of my house. A man got out, tall, professional-looking, wearing a security company uniform. He knocked on my door. Mrs. Morrison, I'm Marcus Thompson from Secure Shield Security. I'll be here until you tell me to leave. Thank you, Marcus. Ma'am, your attorney explained the situation. Your children are planning to move you against your will. That's not happening on my watch. I'll be on your front porch. No one gets past me without your permission. And if they try, I call police. Understood. Understood. I had all my documentation ready, Dr. Kim's psychiatric evaluation, Linda's home health assessment, medical records proving I was healthy. And I had the emergency protective orders that William had obtained Friday afternoon. They were temporary, pending today's hearing, but they were valid. At 9 a.m., I heard vehicles in my driveway. Through the window, I saw Patricia's car, Robert's car, and a U-Haul truck. They had moving boxes. They'd really planned to pack up my life and ship me off to assisted living. Marcus stepped forward as they approached the porch. Good morning. This is private property. Do you have permission to be here? Patricia looked outraged. I'm her daughter. We're moving her to assisted living for her own safety. Ma'am, that's not what I asked. Do you have the property owner's permission to be here? She's my mother. I don't need permission. Marcus's voice stayed calm and professional. Mrs. Morrison, do you want these people on your property? I called out from inside. No, I do not. Marcus blocked the doorway. Then you need to leave. Now, Robert tried reasoning. Look, we have a right to help our mother. Actually, sir, you don't. You have no legal right to enter private property without the owner's consent. Mrs. Morrison has made it clear you're not welcome. If you don't leave immediately, I'm calling the police for trespassing. Patricia tried to push past him. This is ridiculous, Mom. Marcus held firm, not touching her but making it clear she wasn't getting past. Ma'am, step back now. This is your final warning. I spoke through the door. I'm not going anywhere, Patricia. Leave my property. She pulled out her phone, furious. Fine, I'm calling the police. My elderly mother is being held against her will by this security guard. We'll see what the police have to say about this. Please do, Marcus said calmly. I'd like them here as witnesses. 2 police officers arrived 10 minutes later, a black woman in her 30s and a white man in his 40s. Patricia ran to meet them before they even got out of the car. Officers, thank God you're here. My mother is 81 years old and this man won't let us help her. We're trying to move her to assisted living for her safety and he's preventing us. The female officer, her name tag said Jenkins, listened calmly. Ma'am, slow down. What exactly is the situation here? Marcus stepped forward, professional and calm. Officers, I'm Marcus Thompson with Secure Shield Security. I was hired by the property owner, Mrs. Helen Morrison, to prevent trespassing. These individuals are attempting to enter her property without her consent. Robert protested. She's our mother. We're trying to help her. Officer Jenkins held up a hand. Sir, let me talk to the property owner. Where is Mrs. Morrison? I came to the doorway, carrying my folder of documents. Officers, I'm Helen Morrison. These are my children, Patricia and Robert. They're attempting to force me into assisted living against my will. Patricia interrupted. Mom, you need help. You can't live alone anymore. Tell them. I continued speaking to the officer, ignoring Patricia. I am living alone successfully. I'm in perfect health. I manage my home, my finances, and my life independently. I don't need or want assisted living. Officer Jenkins looked at me carefully. I could see her evaluating my coherence, my demeanor. Ma'am, can I ask you some questions? Of course. Do you know what day it is? Monday, November 6th, 2024. Do you know who I am? You're a police officer responding to my daughter's call. Do you have any medical conditions or cognitive impairments that would prevent you from living independently? No. Here's a psychiatric evaluation from Dr. Sarah Kim, completed 3 days ago. I handed her Dr. Kim's report. She read it, her eyebrows raising. Then she looked up at me with something like respect. This says you're fully competent with excellent cognitive function. That's correct. And here's a home health assessment completed 2 days ago, stating I'm capable of independent living in all areas. I handed her Linda's report. Officer Jenkins read that too. Then she looked at Patricia and Robert. So your mother has professional documentation that she's competent and capable, and she's telling us she doesn't want to move to assisted living. Why are you trying to force her? Patricia's face flushed. She's 81, she could fall. She could forget things. Has she fallen? No, but she could. Has she forgotten things or shown confusion? She's old. Officer Jenkins's voice took on an edge. Ma'am, age is not the same as incompetence. Your mother appears to be fully coherent and capable. I pulled out the final documents. Officers, I also have emergency protective orders issued Friday afternoon. I handed them to Officer Jenkins. She read them carefully. Her partner read over her shoulder. The orders stated clearly, Patricia Morrison Webb and Robert Morrison are hereby prohibited from entering the property of Helen Morrison, contacting Helen Morrison, accessing Helen Morrison's financial accounts, or making medical decisions for Helen Morrison. Effective immediately pending full hearing scheduled for November 6, 2024 at 10 o'clock a.m. Officer Jenkins looked up at Patricia and Robert. These are valid court orders. You're currently in violation of them by being on this property. You need to leave immediately. Patricia's face went white. Restraining orders? She got restraining orders against her own children. Valid court orders issued by a judge, Officer Jenkins said firmly. If you don't leave this property right now, I'm going to arrest you for violating them. Is that clear? Robert looked stunned. Mom, you got restraining orders against us? You tried to force me into assisted living and sell my house without my permission. Yes, I got restraining orders. The second officer spoke up. Ma'am, sir, you need to leave now. Remove your vehicles from this property. Patricia was shaking with rage. This isn't over. We're fighting this in court. There's a hearing this afternoon, I said. 2 p.m. See you there. The officers escorted them to their vehicles. They drove away, the U-Haul following behind. After they left, Officer Jenkins came back to talk to me. Mrs. Morrison, I want you to know something. I've been on calls like this before, where family members try to force elderly parents into facilities. What you did, getting documentation, getting legal protection, standing your ground, that's exactly right. A lot of seniors don't know they have rights. You clearly do. I had a good attorney. And you were smart enough to call him. Good luck at your hearing today. Marcus stayed on my porch until William arrived at noon to take me to court. That afternoon at 2 p.m., I sat in Judge Thomas Bradley's courtroom. Judge Bradley was a black man in his 60s with silver hair and a stern expression. William had told me he had a reputation for being fair but tough on elder abuse cases. Patricia and Robert sat across the aisle with their attorney, a nervous-looking young man who clearly wished he were anywhere else. The bailiff called the case. Emergency petition for protective orders, Helen Morrison versus Patricia Morrison Webb and Robert Morrison. Judge Bradley looked at both sides. I've read the emergency petition and the initial filings. Mr. Chen, this is your petition. Present your case. William stood. Your Honor, may I present evidence before making my argument? Proceed. William submitted Dr. Kim's psychiatric evaluation, Linda's home health assessment, my medical records, and the police report from this morning. Judge Bradley read through everything carefully. It took about 10 minutes. The courtroom was silent. Then he looked at Patricia and Robert's attorney. "Counselor, your clients are contesting these protective orders?" The young attorney stood. "Yes, Your Honor. My clients are loving children who are genuinely concerned about their elderly mother's welfare. They've identified an excellent assisted living facility that would provide the support and supervision Mrs. Morrison needs as she ages." "I see." Judge Bradley turned to me. "Mrs. Morrison, would you like to address the court?" I stood. William had coached me to be clear and direct. "Your Honor, I'm 81 years old. I've lived independently in my own home for 40 years. I cook my own meals, clean my own house, drive myself wherever I need to go, and manage my own finances and health care. I have an active social life. I volunteer. I'm in good health. Last Thursday, my children scheduled what they called a family meeting, but it wasn't a meeting, it was an announcement. They informed me that I was moving to assisted living on Monday, today. They'd already selected the facility. They'd already made arrangements to sell my house to pay for it. I never agreed to any of this. When I said I wasn't going, they told me I didn't have a choice. They said they were packing my things this weekend whether I cooperated or not. I paused, making sure my voice stayed steady. "Your Honor, I don't need assisted living. I don't want assisted living. This isn't about my welfare. This is about my children trying to take control of my home and my assets without my consent." Judge Bradley nodded. "Thank you, Mrs. Morrison. You may be seated." He turned to Patricia. "Miss Webb, I'd like to hear from you. Why do you believe your mother needs assisted living?" Patricia stood. She was trying to look sympathetic, concerned. "Your Honor, my mother is 81 years old. She's elderly. She lives alone in a big house. She could fall. She could forget to take her medication. She could have an emergency and no one would know. She needs supervision and support. Has your mother fallen? No, but she could at any time. Has your mother forgotten to take her medication? Not yet, but has your mother had any medical emergencies? No, but Judge Bradley held up Dr. Kim's evaluation. "Miss Webb, according to this comprehensive psychiatric evaluation completed by Dr. Sarah Kim 3 days ago, your mother is fully competent. Her cognitive function is excellent. There is no evidence of dementia, confusion, or impaired judgment. Were you aware of this evaluation?" "No, Your Honor, but," he held up Linda's report. "And according to this home health assessment completed 2 days ago by a licensed occupational therapist, your mother is fully capable of independent living. She manages all activities of daily living without assistance. Her home is safe and appropriate. There are no safety concerns. Were you aware of this assessment?" Patricia's face was flushed. "Your Honor, just because she can manage now doesn't mean she should be alone." "She's 81? Judge Bradley's expression hardened. "Miss Webb, let me be very clear about something. Age is not the same as incompetence. Your mother being 81 does not give you the right to force her into a facility. It does not give you the right to sell her house. It gives you exactly 0 legal authority over her." He turned to Robert. "Mr. Morrison, do you have anything to add?" Robert stood, looking uncomfortable. "Your Honor, we're just trying to make sure our mother is safe. We love her. If you love your mother, Mr. Morrison, why didn't you ask her what she wanted? Why didn't you consult her doctors? Why did you schedule a meeting to inform her of your decision rather than discuss it with her?" Robert had no answer. Judge Bradley looked at both of them, then back at the documents in front of him. "Here's what I see. Mrs. Morrison is clearly competent. Dr. Kim's evaluation is unequivocal on that point. The home health assessment demonstrates she's fully capable of independent living. Her medical records show she's healthy for her age. Her testimony today shows she's articulate, rational, and clear about her wishes." He paused, letting that sink in. "You, Miss Webb and Mr. Morrison, scheduled a meeting to inform your mother, not ask her, inform her, that she was moving to assisted living. You didn't consult with her. You didn't ask her opinion. You didn't even pretend this was a discussion. You simply decided and expected her to comply. Furthermore, you plan to sell her house, her property, which she owns, without her permission. You plan to use the proceeds to pay for a facility she neither needs nor wants. And this morning, according to the police report, you showed up at her home with a moving truck, prepared to pack her belongings and move her by force against her clearly stated wishes. Patricia tried to interrupt. Your Honor, we were trying to help. Miss Webb, if you wanted to help your mother, you would have listened to her. You would have respected her clearly stated wish to remain in her own home. Instead, you tried to override her autonomy entirely. Judge Bradley picked up his pen. I'm granting the protective orders and making them permanent. Patricia Morrison Webb and Robert Morrison are hereby prohibited from contacting their mother, entering her property, or attempting to access her financial accounts. These orders will remain in effect indefinitely. Robert stood up. Your Honor, she's our mother. We have a right to be concerned about her. Judge Bradley's voice was sharp. Mr. Morrison, sit down. You have no right to force a competent adult into assisted living against her will. You have no right to sell someone else's property without their consent. The fact that she's your mother doesn't give you those rights. Do you understand? Robert sat down, looking stunned. Furthermore, Judge Bradley continued, I'm referring this matter to Adult Protective Services for investigation. What you attempted here appears to be financial exploitation, attempting to gain control of your mother's assets under the guise of providing care she doesn't need. He signed the orders with firm strokes. These protective orders are now permanent. You are both ordered to stay away from your mother. You are not to contact her directly or indirectly. You are not to enter her property. You are not to attempt to access her finances or make medical decisions for her. If you violate these orders in any way, you will be held in contempt of court and you will face jail time. Is that absolutely clear? Patricia and Robert both nodded, looking shocked. Judge Bradley looked at me. Mrs. Morrison, if your condition changes in the future and you genuinely need assistance, you're capable of making that decision yourself or designating someone you trust to help you. Based on what I've seen today, that someone is clearly not your children. He banged his gavel. This hearing is concluded. Protective orders are granted and entered into record. I walked out of that courtroom feeling vindicated, relieved, and sad all at once. William walked beside me. You did great in there, Helen. Thank you for everything, William. Helen, I need to tell you something. After we filed the petition Friday, I did some digging into Patricia's finances. I thought you should know what I found. We sat down on a bench in the courthouse hallway. Patricia's real estate business is in serious trouble. The market downturn hit her hard. Her commissions are down 60% over the past year, and she has significant business debt, over $200,000 in loans that are coming due. My stomach dropped. She needed money. Your house is worth about $400,000. If she could get you into assisted living at roughly $4,000 a month, she could sell your house and use the proceeds to save her business and pay off her debts. The math works out to several years of care facility costs, with plenty left over for her business. And I never would have agreed to that. Exactly. So she tried to force it. Make it seem like it was for your own good. Get you into the facility before you could object or get legal help. It's a tactic we see in elder financial exploitation cases. What about Robert? Robert just went along with whatever Patricia said. He always has, from what you've told me. He didn't dig into whether this was really necessary. He just followed his sister's lead. I felt a wave of anger and profound sadness. My own daughter had tried to steal my house to save her failing business, and she'd been willing to lock me in a facility I didn't need to do it. Thank you for finding that out, William. I'm sorry, Helen. I know this is painful. It is, but at least now I know the truth. 1 year passed. I was 82 years old and I was still living independently in my house. Nothing had changed. I still cooked all my own meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I still cleaned my house weekly. I still drove myself to the grocery store, to church, to book club, to lunch with friends. I still managed all my own finances, paying bills on time, balancing my accounts, working with my financial advisor quarterly. I still volunteered at the library every Wednesday. I still maintained my garden, planting new flowers each spring, pulling weeds, enjoying the peace of working with soil and growing things. I was healthy, active, and sharp. I had no contact with Patricia or Robert. Patricia had tried calling once, about 6 months after the court ruling. I reported it to the court immediately. She received a warning from Judge Bradley and never tried again. My sister Grace came to visit from Florida. We sat in my kitchen drinking tea, the same kitchen Patricia had wanted to force me to leave. "How are you doing, Helen?" Grace asked. "I'm doing wonderfully, actually. Any regrets about the restraining orders?" "None. They tried to lock me away and steal my house to pay Patricia's business debts. I protected myself. That's nothing to regret. Do you miss them?" I thought about it honestly. I miss who I thought they were. I miss the children I raised, the ones I believed loved me. But those people tried to take away my freedom for their own financial gain. I don't miss that. I can't. I'd also updated my will shortly after the court case. Patricia and Robert were completely excluded. Everything would go to Grace, my church, and several literacy programs I'd supported for years. The will included explicit language William had helped me draft. I am excluding my daughter Patricia Morrison-Webb and my son Robert Morrison from any inheritance due to their attempt to force me into assisted living against my will and their plan to sell my home without my consent in November 2024. This exclusion is intentional and based on their demonstrated lack of respect for my autonomy and their attempt to exploit me financially for Patricia's business debts. 5 years after that terrible Thursday afternoon when Patricia announced I was moving to assisted living, I celebrated my 86th birthday. I was still in my house, still independent. I'd made some modifications over the years, all my choice. I wore a medical alert system around my neck now, just in case. I used grocery delivery sometimes when I didn't feel like driving. A cleaning service came twice a month to do the heavy cleaning, but I was still cooking my own meals, still managing my own life, still making my own decisions. Patricia and Robert had tried to challenge the restraining orders when they came up for renewal. William and I went back to court. Judge Bradley, now in his 70s but still sharp, looked at me across the courtroom. "Mrs. Morrison, you're 86 years old now. Do you want these protective orders renewed?" "Yes, Your Honor. My children attempted to institutionalize me for their own financial gain 5 years ago. They've shown no genuine remorse or understanding of what they did wrong. I want the orders renewed. And you're still living independently?" "Yes, Your Honor, same house, managing my own affairs." He looked at Patricia and Robert. "Have either of you made any attempt to repair this relationship in a meaningful way?" Silence. "Have you apologized to your mother for attempting to force her into assisted living against her will?" More silence. Judge Bradley signed the renewal. Orders renewed for 5 more years. Next, I'd also started volunteering at the senior center, teaching a class called Maintaining Your Independence. I shared my story, with William's permission and guidance, to help other seniors recognize and prevent similar situations. The room was always packed. 20, 30, sometimes 40 seniors showed up. I stood at the front of the room and told them what happened to me. If your family schedules a meeting about you without asking you first, pay attention. If they've already selected a facility before discussing it with you, that's not a discussion, that's a decision they've made without you. If they tell you you're moving and you have no choice, that's not help. That's force. An elderly woman raised her hand. "My daughter wants me to move in with her. She keeps saying I'm too old to live alone, but I like my independence. I like my house. Am I being selfish? Are you managing your home, your health, your finances?" "Yes, all of it." "I'm doing fine." "Then it's your choice, and it's not selfish to make it. If you want to stay independent and you're capable of it, that's your right. Don't let anyone guilt you into giving up your autonomy just because they think they know what's best for you." After class, people came up to thank me. One man shook my hand. "You gave me the courage to stand up to my son. He's been pushing me to sell my house, and I kept thinking maybe I should just do what he wants. But I don't want to sell. It's my house." A woman hugged me. "You showed me I have rights." I honestly thought I had to do whatever my kids said once I turned 80. Another woman said, "You saved me from making a terrible mistake. My daughter had already picked out a facility. I was going to go along with it just to keep the peace. Now I'm getting an evaluation to prove I don't need it." One evening, I was in my kitchen making dinner when someone knocked on my door. I'd learned to be cautious. I looked through the peephole. A young black woman I didn't recognize stood there with a notepad. I opened the door but left the screen door latched. "Can I help you, Mrs. Morrison?" My name is Jennifer Washington. I'm a reporter with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I heard about your case from one of the attorneys who attended your talk at the senior center. How you fought back when your children tried to force you into assisted living. Would you be willing to share your story? I think it could help a lot of people. I thought about it carefully. William had always said my case could be educational for others. Come back tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'll talk to you then. The next day, Jennifer arrived with a notepad and recorder. I told her everything: the ambush meeting, the 4-day timeline, the legal fight, the evaluations, the restraining orders, the court hearing, everything. She took notes furiously, asking good questions. "How did you know to get evaluations?" My attorney suggested it. He said I needed documentation that would hold up in court. What would you say to other seniors facing similar pressure from family? Don't wait. The moment someone tries to force you into something you don't want, get legal help immediately. Get evaluated to prove you're capable. Document everything, and don't be afraid to use the legal system to protect yourself, even if it's your own children threatening you. The article ran the following Sunday on the front page of the living section. At 81, my children tried to force me into assisted living. Here's how I fought back and won. It went viral. Within days, I'd received hundreds of emails and letters forwarded through the newspaper. "This happened to me too. I wish I'd fought like you did. I'm in the facility now and I hate it, but I don't know how to get out. Thank you for showing me it's possible to stand up to family. My son is trying to do this to me right now. Your story gave me the courage to get a lawyer. I'm an attorney and I'm sharing your story with all my elder law clients. They need to know they have rights." Senior advocacy groups contacted me. Elder law attorneys wanted to use my case as an example. Senior centers across Georgia invited me to speak. I became an advocate, though I never intended to. It just happened. I spoke at senior centers in Atlanta, Savannah, Augusta, Columbus. I consulted with elder law attorneys on similar cases. I helped other seniors understand their rights and find resources to fight back. And through it all, I stayed in my house. Independent, free, making my own choices, living my own life. Now, at 86, I sit by my window looking at the garden I've maintained for 40 years. The azaleas I planted when we first bought the house are blooming. The dogwood tree my husband and I planted together is covered in white flowers. The same garden Patricia wanted to force me to leave. The same house she tried to sell out from under me. I'm still here. My friend Dorothy visits for coffee. We've known each other since our children were in elementary school together. She stirs sugar into her coffee and asks the question she asks every few months. "Helen, was it worth it? Fighting your children like that? Losing them?" I give her the same answer I always give because it's still true. "I didn't lose them, Dorothy. They showed me I never really had them, not in the way I thought I did. They saw me as a problem to solve and a bank account to access. Not as a person to respect, but they are your children, and I'm a competent adult. Being their mother doesn't obligate me to surrender my freedom or my home. It doesn't obligate me to let them steal from me just because they're family. No regrets? None. And it's true, I have no regrets. My life is full of things that matter. Friends who respect me and value my company for who I am, not what I own. Activities that engage my mind and give me purpose. The independence I fought for and won. The peace I deserve after fighting that fight. I'm 86 years old. I still cook my own meals. I still manage my own life. I still make my own decisions about how I want to live. Patricia and Robert are still banned. 5 years later, the restraining orders are still in effect. They'll come up for renewal again in 5 more years. I'll renew them then too. Because they've never apologized. Never acknowledged what they did was wrong. Never shown any real understanding that they tried to steal my freedom for money. And until that changes, if it ever changes, they have no place in my life. I learned something important through all of this, something I teach in every class I give at the senior centers. Being old doesn't mean being powerless. Having adult children doesn't mean giving up your autonomy. You have rights, legal rights, human rights. The right to make your own decisions about where you live and how you live. And when someone tries to take those rights away, even when it's your own children, you have the right to fight back. I'm Helen Morrison. I'm 86 years old. And I'm living proof that you can fight back and win.